Hi guys, this is our color scheme symmetrical design project. So we have three objectives. Demonstrate knowledge and be able to identify different types of balance: symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial. So three. Second is to be able to identify organic and geometric shapes. And third and the final one is to create a design with symmetrical balance that uses four color schemes: monochromatic, complementary, analogous, and triadic. So let's briefly go over shape. So shape is an element of art. It is an enclosed space with a defined edge. So there are two different types of shapes. Geometric, which have regular sides and edges. Remember, they're shapes created by tools. I like to call them math shapes. So rectangles, circles, squares, triangles, hexagons, those types of shapes. The other type of shape is organic. So they have irregular sides and edges. There are shapes that you would find in nature. So here's an example of some organic shapes. So you need to be able to identify which one is which in art and the art of others. Now let's talk a little bit about balance. So balance is a principle of design. It's the distribution of the visual weight of objects, colors, textures, and space in a work of art. So balance can be kind of an abstract thing to learn, but as you look at more art, make more art, it becomes more apparent. So we're going to break it down into three types of balance: symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial. So symmetrical balance is when the elements used on one side of the design are the same or similar to those on the other side. So as an example, this is a painting by Georgia O'Keeffe called Cow's Skull, Red, White, and Blue. If we draw a line down the center of the composition, both sides of this artwork are about the same. So think about it like a mirror. If both sides, when you put a line down the center, are a mirror image of one another, then this has symmetrical balance. Here's another example by William Morris, which is a pattern design. It's called The Strawberry Thief. If we put that line down the center, you can see that both sides are mirror images of one another. So this would be symmetrical balance. So next is asymmetrical balance. This occurs when you have different elements on either side of a design, but the image still seems balanced. This one is one that's a little bit harder to grasp, because how do you tell if it's balanced if it's not the same on both sides? So let's look at an example. This is The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali. So on one side we have a lot of clocks, there's a branch. On the right side it's a little bit more empty, so when we put that line down the center, you can see there's more going on the left than the right. However, it still seems balanced. It's just the visual weight is more to the left. So another example I like to show is The Great Wave by Hokusai. So again, if we put the line down the center, it's not the same on both sides, but this still has a sense of balance. And especially this one has this really nice sense of movement with the wave. You almost feel like it's going to crash. And then also that negative space kind of reflects the positive space in this one. So this is just a great piece all around. All right, last is radial balance. So radial balance is created by having a clear central point from which the other elements radiate. So again, some examples. So this is On White by Vasily Kandinsky. So if you're looking at this, where is the balance? Where are things coming from? They are all coming from the center and then coming out. Think about those little suns that you draw when you're in elementary school with the little spokes around it. So when everything's coming out from the center, that is radial balance. This is the North Rose window from the Notre Dame Cathedral in France. So again, if we're looking at this, it seems as though everything is bursting from the middle. So this would be radial balance. So your project, you're going to create a symmetrical design that uses both organic or geometric shapes painted in 4 different color schemes. So the steps to complete your project. You want to create some practice designs. So I will give you a square piece of paper And you want to make at least 3 different designs and then check them off with me. So think about organic versus geometric shapes. If you're going to make a simple design versus more complicated, do you want to do something with recognizable imagery, or do you want to just use a pattern? All of this is up to you, but I need you to make at least 3 different sketches. Then, once I approve your sketch, you're going to get a large piece of square paper. You're going to choose your design from what we discussed. You're going to flip it like a mirror and trace. So let's look at that a little bit more. So there's the center of the paper. So you should have 4 squares that equally match your sketch. And then you're going to take your design. So here's one that I made. And you can use my light table, you can use the window. You're going to put it underneath and you're going to trace. And then what you're going to do is you're going to flip it so it's going to be like a mirror. So if this is one part, when you trace it on the next section, you're going to flip it. So you need to make sure you're flipping it like a mirror, like those first examples, to create a symmetrical design. So you also need to think about which direction you want to start with. So if this is where I start, then when I trace it underneath the next side, I have to flip it like this, so it'll be like a mirror. So you can see right here, this is just using a light board. And then I also traced my design in Sharpie, so it's easier to see. So here is an example. So this is just a really simple geometric shape design. And then once you trace it, you can just leave it in pencil or use a Sharpie. Just depends on how you want it to look. If you want to have a lot of dark outlines in your design, similar to a stained glass kind of look, then you want to outline it with Sharpie. If you do not want that, then you do not have to. You can leave it in pencil. Then each different square, so you should have 4 squares, you need to paint with a different color scheme. So complementary, analogous, monochromatic, and triad. The colors you pick are up to you. However, they need to follow that color scheme. And then last, you're going to outline the shapes with Sharpie if you desire to do so. So here is an example of mine before I outlined it with Sharpie and after. Again, this is up to you. It also depends on how clean you paint. If you're still working with your brush skills, I would consider outlining it with Sharpie. And then you can see in some areas I just left it color and didn't outline it. So you can also outline it in some areas and not others. Again, this is all your artistic choices. Then last, make sure you take an image and upload it, and then complete the reflection and assessment. And I can't wait to see what you guys do. Good job.